All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the live stream today. We'll welcome you all back. Hopefully, we have a much better day of trading. Have better price action today, but we'll see. We'll see. Yesterday wasn't bad. It's just it could have been better. I definitely want to welcome back all the subscribers. Hopefully, there are a few newcomers that have found us. I'll give everyone just a couple more minutes, and then we'll get going. Good morning, D. Anderson. And that Mohican. Good morning. How's everyone doing? Oh, D. Anderson, that's awesome. I'm glad your cousin is now joining the team. Good morning, CEO. All right, I changed some settings yesterday. I just want to test and see if any of them are working. And it's related to how much delay there is. Can someone check and just see what the delay is on my feed versus what you see at home? Let me raise my screen a bit so you can see what the clock on my screen looks like. Hey, Chuck. Good morning. Okay, awesome. Yeah, I know I made some changes. I know there were some subscribers who had mentioned there was like a 30-second delay or so. And so I just wanted you to check the clock down here and just see if it's exactly the same as yours. I don't think it should be the same. It's probably going to be maybe 10 or 15-second delay. That I think we can deal with. I think when it gets to 30 seconds, that's probably too much, because if I ask for any feedback, it's going to take a while to get, as well as when we're looking at the market, looking at the charts, it's a little tough to be 30 seconds behind. Okay, 14 seconds. All right, let's see. All right, so we'll just see how that works today, and if everyone likes this setting, then I'll leave it there. If not, I'll try and make it a little bit better. But all right, let's go ahead and get going. We want to beat the open bell. All right, just take a peek at the hourly and the dollar. I know we looked yesterday at the weekly and daily chart. I just want to catch an update and see where we are. Um, let's see. Yep. So it looks like overnight there was the previous day low that was swept. So that's the PDL. When you see my chart, PDL and PDH, previous day low and high. So we had a sweep of the low, and then from there we had a buy looking for a previous day high. And also during the previous day high, on the move downwards was the Asian session. So the Asia high also was up there starting at midnight. And so it swept the Asia high as well. And so right now, what we're looking at is um, whether the dollar is going to trade above and close above this fair value gap. And then if that happens, then we're looking for sort of these relative equal highs here. I mean, there's a high in between, but but ultimately, we will be looking for dollar to crash up there if it's not rejected from this point. All right, but as of right now, we're bullish on dollar. It was a structure break here. Then we immediately saw the rejection, immediately saw bullish activity, sweeping highs, sweeping these highs here, turning back bullish. So as of right now, the dollar on the hourly is bullish. And so we need to take that into account as we look at equity markets today. Put the playback speed to 2. Okay. All right, laughter. Vivian, good morning. All right, let's quickly jump over to ES. All right, so ES will turn back bullish at the New York high based on current market structure. So it's going to be the New York high that flips us back bullish. Otherwise, we should prep for going lower. We have the session lows here between Asia and London low. We also have a swing low right here. And we have the new week opening gap it could trade into, which it didn't yesterday. So previous low, new week opening gap. And from there, we'll see how far price wants to go, whether it's a fair value gap in this area, even deeper, or whether we get more consolidation action and back up into the zone. But for now, if we had to pick a direction, we'd be choosing bearish on ES. And let's jump over to NQ as well. All right, there's a New York high that we didn't run into yesterday. Okay. All right. So similar action with NQ. Not really. I mean, it's leaning bearish, but it's not really bullish or it's not really strong either way right now. We need to pay attention to this midnight open price as we see price now coming down, whether it finds support there. We have the new week opening gap just below. We have the new day opening gap below it. And then overnight lows, the overnight lows that we could run into. Let me move down and I just want to take a look at what we were. Oh, forgot. Here we go. Let's go to the quarterly one. This is what I wanted to show you. So yesterday's session, we were during the afternoon, we were mostly in this area. So we traded down just as the afternoon session started, and then we just consolidated for the remainder of the afternoon, leaving the lunchtime low here and the lunchtime high. Between those levels, we were looking for price to go to one of those two during the session, and nothing really happened. And then after the session was over, we saw more consolidation through the midnight hour. And then for the London session, we saw a big dip down through the lunch lows. Right, so the lunch lows were taken over the London session. It put in a new low there. And immediately we saw momentum switch the other way and it pushed towards the lunchtime high. So now we have the lunch high and low from yesterday's afternoon. From yesterday's lunch session. We have both of those taken. So we don't have to worry about that now. But we do have the opening bell coming in just under 5 minutes. Plus, remember today, Today we have news coming. Okay. Sorry, screen is locking up on me. Yep. So we have the Richmond Manufacturing Index coming at 10 o'clock. So we need to prepare for that as we're watching the opening bell. Just be aware that there is news coming. A orange folder, so it's medium impact, but medium impact can have a big impact on price. So we want to. Okay, so now we're getting right to that midnight open price that I mentioned. We want to see how price reacts to that level. But I'm going to remove these lunch indicators now that price has already traded through those levels. Gives us a much cleaner chart. So as of right now, between all the session highs and lows, every session high and low has been traded back into, with the exception of the London low. The London low down at 17,420 is still open. And so if we do see lower prices, then we should apply that as one of the targets that price will want to go to. I'm going to measure this move here just so we know where we are on the retracement level. All right, so the midnight open is just shy of the 62%. All right, the new week opening gap, it's right at 70% retracement. The new day opening gap is at 78%. And 88% is the Asia low. So look at all of these retracement levels. We have a PD array or some type of interest for price to want to trade there. So with that said, I'll give us another 90 seconds of silence and allow us to watch the opening bell. All right, D. Anderson, trading ES. Morning. ICT is live this morning. Okay. A valid order block. Hmm. Yeah, well, typically you find a valid order block in a trending market. So you have to find a market that is trending. Generally, where you would find that is, at least in its origin, is at a previous point of entry or interest, where like for here, we had price trading down and it reached a point of interest in which it wanted to turn around and start being bullish again. So because of it, it started creating order blocks. So these two down candles became an order block when this high was taken. Right? So we have this high here. Price is trading down. It did not create a new low, but it did create a new high. When it created a new high, that made these two the order block. And you can see over here on this candle, there was a trade down to it. Actually, on this candle too. It trades down to them and then bullish momentum out. Right, so the key is to find trending market, and then candles moving in the opposite direction will become a valid order block. So if this is to be a valid order block, we'll see bullish momentum outwards. If price reached a level that it needed to reach in order to go lower, this order block will fail. And then price will seek whatever it is down here that it's looking for. Right. So it really, a part of it does depend on what's above and what's below and where price is going. So you do need to have a pretty good understanding of what's the draw on price. And once you find the draw on price, then it becomes easier to find order blocks. Morning, Fauci. Oops, sorry about that. The bell was actually a minute ago. I just read the Laughed, I just read your message. But I raised my screen, so now you can see what my clock is showing. That should help you out with the delay. I changed some settings, and so I had someone check it early. They said it's about 14 seconds, which is about normal. If that's still a struggle for everyone, there's one more setting I could make and to make it a little less. But it did say that we may suffer some quality issues. So I don't want to go to that level if we don't have to. But if we do, I'm happy to give it a try. Only thing is I can't test it mid-session. So we would have to start the next session. So this afternoon I can make that change. All right, Anderson, excellent. All right, let's move the Fibonacci. Good morning, Elena. You're right. A lot of movement in 3 or 4 minutes. All right, London lows now been taken. So now we have all of our previous session highs and lows all been traded to. All right, only thing still remaining if we're currently in what I consider the New York session. So at 10 o'clock, it'll position our New York session, and then that'll become the next goal for the 10 o'clock hour. Not necessarily that it happens in an hour, but that'll be the only session high and low that hasn't been traded to. So let's just see where we would land between 7 and 10. All right, so this is going to be the New York high. All right, this is coming over from Friday. It held this position on Friday and was still relevant, so I decided to drag it over just to see. If we fail here, we have fair value gaps that I'll need to drag over from these key levels. In fact, let me just draw a couple of them. Hey, Bob. Good morning. Welcome. Right now, it's sort of stuck at the new day opening gap. So it's back to opening values from 1800 yesterday. Trying to push above, but at the current moment, hasn't had enough momentum to do so. Hi, Max. Morning. All right, the Anderson already hit a trade for today. All right. Remember, if you weren't on at the very beginning, remember there's news coming at 10 o'clock. All right, Fred. Welcome to the channel. All right, Tommy. You caught the AM ride long and then short. Okay. All right. So yes, nice movement here on these two candles. And then you caught some on the short as well. So good for you. Excellent. Right on 15 minutes. It's a sizable rejection here. About 50, yeah, about 50 points so far. If we were to close right here, we'd be looking at a 50-point wick here. All right, let's just take a peek just to see how everyone else is doing. Hang on, let me take my face off. Oops. There we go. Remember yesterday I put the Fibonacci up, and the only thing we could get to was 38% on Nas, but I think the Dow and S&P hadn't reached 38% yet on the retracement. The Dow has now reached that and still pushing a little further. Not quite at 50% yet for Nasdaq, but pushing. We did get, we're getting the big rejection right now, but the low that was put in was near to 50%, just not quite there. And we see the dollar near hourly highs, daily high, just pushed above Friday's values. Up next will be last Thursday, en route to last week's high that was put in on Wednesday. So the dollar's pushing towards the last week's high, which may actually be good for us if it was able to eclipse last week's high. Then maybe we'll get a retracement. But as of right now, looks like the Dow is leading the bearish charge, with Nasdaq behind and S&P being the most bullish. Right, we'll get back to the regular scheduled program here. Move over to Nasdaq again. All right, the rejection has now moved even further. We're getting close to the midnight open. We drop down to the 5-minute from the 15. Triple eight, yes, I will. I am looking for one, just not at the current moment. We have news coming in 15 minutes. All right, this candle's closure is going to be the end of that 15-minute candle. We want to see if it's below the new day opening gap or above. The close inside of I mean, I'm gonna measure this leg of moving, just see where we are on retracement. Okay, so we've already seen the 50% retracement. Also, this fair value gap's been traded into more than 50%. It's probably 3/4 of the way. All right, midnight open is next at 475. All right, I'm gonna do my morning ritual and run and get my second cup of coffee. Everyone give me about 90 seconds to return. Thank you. All right, I'm back. Oh, laughter. That's an excellent, excellent, excellent idea. Share on your social media. All right, got about 10 minutes before news is released. Let me drop down time frames. Mm. Toker FX. No, I do not go over gold. I only do the indices, so we'll go over the US dollar and then we'll take a look at ES and NQ. I've gone over gold before, but it was kind of an extra segment after the session was over and we stayed during lunch and just kind of took a look at it for a few minutes. But outside of that, no, I never go over gold. All right, let me just close my door. No, Tommy, I don't trade oil either. It's just really just Nasdaq futures, but I will trade S&P sometime. Those are the only two that I trade. Alrighty, guys, I want to point this out on the three indices as we continue trading this morning. We had S&P that has not taken out the low from yesterday's afternoon session, but we did get the low swept from yesterday's afternoon session on both the Dow and NQ. So I just wanted to highlight that so everyone's aware. Oops. Sorry. There we go. Right, and let me just take my photo away for a second. And we see the dollar is still pushing towards its hourly high as we approach the last couple minutes. All right, so we traded all the way back to the midnight open. Looks like we did close above for a couple candles, and now we're retesting that level to see if it can hold. Hmm. Yeah, I had a friend of mine who traded overnight as well. I woke up this morning and he had sent me a screenshot of he went short on gold overnight. All right, I'll put the session highs back on the screen since we have news coming just to see if there's any retest of those levels. And then afterwards, I'll take them off again. All right, looks like it's going to find support at the midnight open, possibly. Big wick down into the new week opening gap, 50%, and then it looks like maybe it's going to close above. It tried, it closed below. Yep. So sweeping these highs that would be the Asia and London high. If we sweep these highs, it'll be a retest of that level. All right, we're now into 10 o'clock. News has now been announced. Let's see what was the outcome. Ooh, okay, so just like last week's manufacturing, I believe last week's was that New York? No, it's the Philly Fed Manufacturing Index. So this week we have Richmond Manufacturing Index, and it too fell well short of forecast. Forecast was a minus 11. I mean, I'm sorry, minus 7. The previous was minus 11. So it was minus 11 last month. Forecasted was minus 7 this month, and an actual came in at minus 15. So nearly double what the forecast was, or over double. So let's see how that impacts USD, which then in turn will impact us over here. And since it's the manufacturing index, I wonder if it's going to impact the Dow more than the others. All right, so far in the first couple minutes, the dollar is selling, but we want to give it some more time to settle before we believe the direction that it's moving. take a peek over at ES and see where ES is trading. Right, so the highs for New York have now been placed. Now it is after 10 o'clock. So we have a New York low that hasn't been traded to and a New York high that hasn't been traded to. Based on where it is, I would imagine we would go here first and then go here to the high, but I've been fooled before. Hmm. These wicks, man, damaging these wicks here. Just looking at the lower time frame, see if there's any fair value gaps or something close by to short. Nope. Oh man, yeah. All right, so nothing on ES. Let's bounce back over to NQ. All right, so it's right at 50% level of the New York range. So the New York low and high, it's right at 50% right now. So that definitely means it doesn't really have a solid position. And for me, it's no go on trading for right now. Just want to see exactly where we might be headed here. And I'm also paying attention to the dollar to see how it continues to perform. As of now, the first 8 minutes or so, it is selling, which is a good sign. Yeah. Yeah, we have this one right here, DB, that it's already traded into 3 or 4 times. Other than that, yep, it's down here. We move into higher time frame. We see on the 15. The 15 has a nice one that it's already traded into several times. Yeah, I'm thinking if we're seeking lower prices, this New York high is going to hold like it did yesterday. Even if we do a buy up, we may get stuck at the 830. Right now, we're teeter-tottering around the midnight open, struggling to get close above. Started early today. All right. All right. Not a lot of action after this news event. We'll say at this higher time frame, we can see rejection candles for the last 25 minutes or so above this level at 477. All right. So dollar has rebounded from earlier in this hour. The first 10 minutes or so, it was retracing. We saw it putting in lower prices, retracing back into the heavily bullish candle from last hour. But now it's returned and it's starting to push higher. It's even pushed higher than last hour's high. So it's done a little better. Last hour's high was at 103.60. Now it's at 103.62, which for the dollar is it's a decent amount of movement. Indices still haven't decided what it wants to do. And we can see that from these candles starting at 10 o'clock here, all hovering around the midnight open. Over to ES. All right, ES. The last candle did make a higher high than what's has been here since the opening bell. Really, it's the highest closing candle since the opening bell. I know I looked at Nasdaq and I said, "Look at those wicks," but wow. Right, this looked just like Nasdaq right there. So let me go back and see if Nasdaq is also doing the same thing. Not quite, not there yet. All right, so we'll hang out with ES for just a few moments and see if we get some bullish momentum and if we get a big push. Yeah, we may actually have to wait until 10:30 before we start to see price move out of its current location, its current area. Sometimes when news is announced at 10 o'clock, it does take 20 to 30 minutes for price to settle and then continue on the path it was before. So maybe in 10 minutes, we'll see it break out of this consolidation zone. Sorry, didn't mean to cover up the session highs and lows. In fact, it might be a little easier just for me to just remove these. Let's see, Asia low, we traded two. Actually, for ES, I'll leave it open because the London low is still open. So we have the London low and we have the New York high. Well, the New York low as well. All right, let's go back to Nasdaq since ES Progress has stalled a bit. Okay, we have Nasdaq pushing lower, which it hasn't done for about 45 minutes. So let's see if it closes below the new day opening gap, or if this is just a liquidity sweep of the area over here. A retest at an Asia low, and then maybe we move back up into this area. Okay, 15 minutes. It's in a pretty large fair value gap. Let me just move to that time frame, make it easier to see. Hmm. All right, let's just take a look at the indices together. You see S&P is right at its origin value for the hour. There's a doji there without any candle body. We see Nasdaq pushing lower, achieving at least half of the wick from last hour. And I called out the wick was about 50 points. So it's at least pushed down 20 to 30 points. All right, we see S&P now pushing down a little bit, but the Dow was still bullish for the hour so far. And then here we go with the dollar making hourly highs, pushing above last hour and continuing to go towards the weekly high of last week, which is 103.692. Right. So because of that, and we don't have really a correlation between the indices, I'm still holding before I enter a trade. Okay, push through that fair value gap. Still got 5 minutes before the fair value gap is invalidated, but for now, it's pushed below. Remember, the New York low was at 410, and this is the lower wick from opening bell. Here we go on those wicks that I highlighted on, I believe it was the 5 minute. Yep. So I highlighted all these wicks and was just like, I don't like these wicks as far as bullish momentum. So it looks like, we're running into a lot of resistance, and every bar seems to be rejecting. And I wasn't looking at the lower time frame, but now that I go down to the 1 minute, I can see there was a fair value gap here. And this is that shaded area. So this is every time it traded into it. 6, 7 times. Each time it rejected out. Each time the body closed below. Well, actually, this area I highlighted is not really a fair value gap anything. But even when it pushed out, let me just remove this gray area. Even when it pushed out of the fair value gap, it always retraced back and closed inside, giving confidence for a short entry. But keep in mind, market structure has not changed in here. This big move down created bullish environment, which was never overtaken up here. So when price pushed downwards, it was still bullish. And even now we see price pushing upwards, but we're still bullish until we get above 493. I said that wrong. We're still bearish. We're still bearish until we get to 493. Sorry. We are bearish. Oh, low viewer count today. Either price action is keeping people away or it's ICT. Everyone wants to watch ICT. Today we got a rejection from the new week opening gap, closing below. But the following candle is pushing harder. So probably likelihood that we get a close above this time. All right, we're past 10:30 now, so hopefully price eases up a bit and we can start seeing price action expand as opposed to the consolidation that we've seen so far since the opening bell. All right, so the dollar has reached last week's highs, the ones I pointed out that it was pushing towards at 103.69, I believe. Yep, 103.69. All right, so the only thing left now to see is if reaching that high will bring a retracement or not, or if the dollar will keep pushing, looking for an even higher high. So I'm gonna go ahead and mark off the next level at 103.95, and we'll just. Yeah, you're right. The Sunday opening right here. Traded into it here, traded out, above, to it, above, through it, back to it. All right, so there's fair value gap here, along with the new day opening gap, 50%. Price rejected from it already. Let's see now how the next candle performs. All right, so the Dow seems to be moving opposite of the dollar. While the dollar's making new highs and chasing and has recently taken out last week's high, I see the Dow has continued to push lower, even pushing lower than the last hour. So next target for the Dow is at 38,038. See, S&P also has pushed lower than last hour. We'll see how far ES pushes and if it's able to finally push lower than yesterday's lunchtime low. It's still the only indice not to do that. All right, Fauci, there you go. Yep, I'm still here. It's just prices, not really cooperating this morning. I thought that having the medium impact news would do something, but so far it's not providing much. Okay, those equal highs are now done. Take them off the screen. We have another set of equal highs here. Okay, rejection off the midnight open again. Right, give me just a moment. I'm gonna get my last cup of coffee for the morning, get ready for the macro that's coming up at 10:50, which also leads into the final hour of this morning session. So just give me 1 to 2 minutes. I'll be right back. JL, welcome. Good morning, Crypto Queen. Hey, Crypto Queen, we got the lag down to around 14 to 15 seconds. And so I hope that's acceptable. If not, I can continue to tweak some of the settings to see if we can get lag down even further. Um, they just warned that it could impact quality, so I'm not sure if we need to make it shorter than 15 seconds, but that's should be where we are now. All right, so we have the Dow just continuing to crash in price. S&P finally swept the London lows. Let me pull that up. I know we were looking at that earlier. Let me go back with the indicator. Yep, this London low was wide open. We were waiting for S&P to get down there. Now showing a willingness to do so. We still have the previous day low. But it's good to see now that the London low has been taken. Let's see where we are. All right, so Nasdaq took the London low. Now S&P is taking the London low, and the Dow is taking the London low. We'll go back to Nasdaq and we'll go to the lower time frames. We're now at 10:50, so we're heading into the final hour of this morning session. I know price action hasn't really been kind to us since the opening bell, but let's see if the last hour can give us something good. And if that's the case, hopefully we get some indication as to what that might be during the next 20 minutes. So I have it marked off here. We want to see if something good happens in this area, which would lead us to believe we should be looking for a setup for the final hour. Right, we have about 5 minutes before this hour is up. While we're waiting, let's peek over and take a look again at the indices versus the dollar, just so we have an up-to-date view of where they are. Oops. It looks like the Dow is really close to getting to 50% retracement on the entire leg up, which stemmed from late last week, or from Thursday of last week. Oh, my mistake. The last leg up from Friday. So basically Friday after the opening bell, we just basically had bullish momentum all the way until Sunday evening into Monday morning. And so this is the retracement of that level, getting close to 50%. Not quite there yet. We still have very little retracement on the S&P. S&P has mostly just been a consolidation from highs. Made a new high here, traced down to the old high, and then moved sideways. We also have SMT here, where S&P still has not swept the lows from yesterday afternoon, while we have the Dow as well as Nasdaq sweeping those lows. So next thing is, I want to see when they get down to the 50% retracement level. So then they'll be in the discount price range. And if we're looking for higher prices, I would expect it at that point, not before. I'll leave this up for just a moment. All right, back over to Nasdaq. Here we go. Ooh, good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the live stream. All right. This candle or the next candle has to break out of here. So let's see where it goes. And it's perfect timing too. It's the start of a new hour. It's 11 o'clock. Let's see if we get some energetic movement and see if price really wants to move away from the new day and new week opening gap. I'm looking at both of the daily candles for Monday and Tuesday. They have very little to them, very little body at all, just wick to the upside. And that's the same for the weekly candles. So it's just so far, there has been trading, but no progress made. So let's see what the next candle brings. We have another 5 seconds and it'll print a new one. There we go. Okay, which way will it push? All right, so far still stuck. Range. We're 90 seconds in, and whatever reason, price doesn't want to break out. All right, I think we might have something here. Let's see if this movement can be sustained. Oh, you had a trade in London. Okay, right. Yep. Yeah, Ray. I mean, we're looking at the 5 minute, and this is the opening bell. So anyone who took a short at the opening, uh, they had a winner, and they actually was able to do something. But after that, I mean, I guess you could have taken this retracement, but otherwise, we've just been sitting here doing nothing really. Yep, you're right. 15-minute busy. Yeah, we traded into it 6, 7 times already this morning since 9 o'clock. I mean, I thought about going long there. It's just an incredible stop loss to manage that trade, so I decided against it. Okay, we're getting a retracement for the dollar again at the start of the hour, just like we had last hour. But I want to caution you, just like last hour, after 10 minutes or so, dollar was bullish for the rest of the session, or the rest of that hour. Sorry, for the rest of the 10 o'clock hour. All right, we have the Dow making a new low, taking out last hour's low so far. But we have S&P and Nasdaq buying so far this hour. So we want to see them get back together and start moving in the same direction. So hopefully the Dow can start buying, or we'll see. But for now, still holding. It's good to see Nasdaq push out of this zone. So let me get rid of these trend lines. All right, maybe I'll hold this one. Yeah, these last couple days, price action reminds me a lot of what we got at the end of December, when you could tell price didn't want to make any real expansions. It didn't make a lot of contractions either, but it just really didn't want to expand. And then we got to the start of the year, and after a couple days, things loosened up, and then we saw some expansion, which last week everyone was excited about, and most people were able to find a trade that they liked. 458. All right. Sorry about that. Hey, Crypto Queen is long. All right, equal highs here at 484. All right, that would be the 2x trade if someone takes that long. See if we can't refine this down to the 1 minute, because that was a 5-minute entry. Okay. So now we're down to 11-point stop loss. So a 1 to 2 trade would end here. right, Crypto Queen. I'm assuming you took an entry here at the midpoint of the new day opening gap. So we're somewhere here. And you want to put your stop below the next fair value gap below you. Probably down here. And then you want to run for a 2x. All right, that's 23 points is what I have. But let's see where else we could put the stop. We could really put the stop here because of where this fair value gap starts. And in that case, a 2x trade would be there. 15 stop, 31.5 TP. You know what? Let's refine that a little better. At 443, stop at 443. Okay. And a quarter. Okay, cool. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't off base with where I placed the stop. It's good to see that we were close in area. All right. No, if price comes back down, then yeah, your trade is definitely invalidated and you want it to take you out. 444 even. Okay. There we go. All right. Based on your entry and where price is now, probably a break even scenario. Therefore, if you set a break even and price is retracing, you're likely talking about somewhere in here, so you can always re-enter at a better position. Let me remove this 5-minute entry. Right now, I'm just watching. Yeah, price action this morning hasn't been strong enough for me to take a position. Okay, all right. So you already got one of your contracts off at 1R. So excellent, excellent. Yep. Yeah, this is not low resistance liquidity runs. Price seems like it's not in a hurry to get anywhere. So that's either going to point to a better afternoon session or it's waiting for later in the week for some of the news events to come. We have more news events coming tomorrow morning at 9:45. And then Thursday is just littered with news in the morning. Yep. Thursday we have 8:30 and 10 o'clock. All right, crypto, there you go. Yep, so now you're getting a retracement back to where your entry was. There's also this fair value gap that's inside of this range, inside the zone here. Yep. Okay, so back into the 15-minute fair value gap. Oh, okay. During lunch, you get your unicorn. Okay. Yeah, buy side liquidity. We've been struggling with that this morning. Been looking just to see when we may get there. And we still have a New York low that has not been traded to. So if price wants to go lower, obviously we'll likely get to that point. But we also have the New York high that has not been traded to. Let me get to the 5 minutes. There we go. So from 8:30 to the opening bell, we had pretty sizable trade off of 120 points or so. We've now come off of that low and then just moved sideways until now. Go ahead and measure up this New York range again. Okay, so now we're down in premium again. So we'll see if there are any longs to be had here or if it's really pushing for the low. Mm. All right, crypto. Just so we're clear. So on the 5 minute, is this the breaker you're talking about? You're waiting for price to trade above. Yeah, definitely. Glad you got out. Glad you got out when you could. 910. Okay. Oh, okay. All right. So the one slightly higher. Hmm. Okay. Okay. All right. Yeah, a lot of times I won't include the wick, but if I do, especially since this is a bullish one, I'll do this. So I won't include the down wick. I'll just take the body plus the up wick. Especially I like this one just because the wick's not too big. Um, let's see how big is this. 488 to 492. So it's 3 or 4 points there. If the wick was more than 6 or 7 points and it was like up here somewhere, I wouldn't include the wick. I would just take the body. But yeah, if you trim it down a little bit to this high of the candle you're speaking about, then yes, at least on the retrace, you pick up an extra point before it actually touches. So that would actually help out your trade and the stop loss. But I like how you mentioned lunchtime. A lot of times it's you'll see a run on those. And so what I'm thinking we might get during lunch is a run on these highs, this one. Hang on just one moment. Give me one moment. My apologies, everyone. I had a phone call I needed to take. But I think I was in the middle of talking about sweeping highs. So during lunch, sometimes what it likes to do is to take liquidity from the morning session. So from the morning session, we can see from 8:30, pretty much there was a big sell-off, creating a session high here, creating a swing high here, and another one here, and then a set of equal highs as it marches down and just kind of consolidates. And so it wouldn't surprise me if during the lunch hour we saw bullish momentum pushing up, at least sweeping some of these equal highs, and a handful of these also swing highs. I'm not sure it'll get all the way to the New York high, but it would not surprise me if we get bullish momentum and start taking out some liquidity over lunch. 840 candle. Yeah, I think in that case, I would probably take these candles together. Just playing off of the last, yeah, playing off of this last low right here. Push down, up, break the low. Now, if we can break this New York high over lunch, then yes, this could then activate this one. Prior to that, this one would be activated. So most likely you'll get a play above here, trade back down, find some support, push higher, trade back down, find support, push higher. Yeah, Crypto Queen. I don't know how you see this, but I was a bit torn between this swing low, just because this is a low, but it didn't create a swing. So I was a bit torn as to whether I should take this and make it down to here. So then it'll be this entire leg. Right. So then this would be the low. Then we got a high. Then we got a break of that low. And then we would be looking for a break of the high. But but we're not there yet. It could happen over lunch. It could happen in the afternoon session. So we'll continue to wait. But for now, we'll try not to force anything. Two up close candles. Okay, I see. Mm. News at 11:30. All right, let me check and see what kind of news we got. All right, expecting ES to trade to the new week opening gap and NQ daily fair value gap to rally up. All right. Yeah, NQ has a huge daily fair value gap because yes, because Friday's candle was massive and provided a large expansion, and then yesterday didn't really retrace at all. So yeah, that fair value gap on the daily, massive. All right, let me check on this news. It's most likely low impact news, but still, let me just look and see what it is. HDS, there isn't any news at 11:30, not that I can see. Are you sure it's news at in the U.S. market, or is it for somewhere else? The bill action. Nope. Okay, so we do have the Dow push well below 50% and it's still pushing. S&P looks like it might actually take out yesterday lunchtime low that we were looking at earlier, and noticed they were the only one not to take it. So it looks like that might actually happen in the next within this hour, right? And then NQ is also pushing lower, looking to take out last hour's low, which would be here, en route to the morning session low. Hmm. And while we're still consolidating, I'm going to go ahead and flip us over so we can continue to monitor how all of them are trading together. Put us in a better viewing position. The Dow is the weakest of the three pairs. It's really pushing hard towards a 62% retracement level. We're still above 38% on the S&P, but that makes sense because we haven't even taken out the session low from yesterday's lunch. And then on NQ, we are approaching 50%. We're not there yet, but 38%. We've definitely crossed over yesterday and for the most part remained below it, or right at it. And so we're trading below it again. Expected some kind of retracement from the dollar after eclipsing this high from last Wednesday, but so far the only retracement we got was what we've seen this hour, and it's already pushing out of that. Okay, switch back over. Back to that inverted fair value gap from Ooh, from a while ago, from Friday, actually. All right, Antonio, welcome. Welcome in. Right now, looks like we're making equal lows from this one and then these two. No, sir, Antonio, this morning. So this is the opening bell on this candle. And then this is the morning session. This is where we are. So nope, there's been nothing. No expansion. There's been no break of structures. There hasn't been anything really. Yep. Yeah. Most of us have just been sitting on the sidelines. So similar to yesterday afternoon, we're waiting for the big breakout, which should be coming. And so far, it hasn't come this morning. So it's either going to come this afternoon or we're going to see something start tomorrow. I pointed out earlier that last week we had our low on Wednesday and our high on Thursday. And then Friday just kept pushing. Matter of fact, while we're talking about this, let's jump over to the daily. Right. So last week, this was Monday. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Oh, there was no Monday. That's right. There was only London trading on Monday, but we had the U.S. holiday. So we hit Tuesday, which didn't really put a candle body or anything. It was just a lot of trading, but no real progress. Then we saw Wednesday break down, which gave us our low of the week. Thursday then came back and gave us our high of the week. And then Friday even beat that and made the high of the week. So it's really the low of the week was Wednesday, the high of the week was Friday, which is the high of the year too. But now we can see Monday, very similar to these kind of candles, where you do get a range, but it closes right around where it opens. We'll have to see what happens today. The range looks much smaller, so we'll see what happens this afternoon, whether we get a larger range, and then see where we close. But the fireworks, as far as news is concerned, is Thursday. So that may be when we actually see our high of the week, or at least we see sustained bullish momentum. Let's get back down to the 5 minute here. Mm-hmm. Everyone, I'm gonna have to end today's session this morning session a little early, so I'll have to end it in about 5 minutes. So if we have any final questions or comments, go ahead and put it in the chat now. We'll still have our 1300 afternoon session, so don't worry, we'll be back on time. I just have something I need to take care of during this break, so I need to leave about 15 minutes early. Crypto queen, me too. I want a nap too. I don't think I'm gonna get one. It's nice to get a response a little quicker. So I'm glad the lag is not as much as it was the delay. Um, and again, if it's still a problem, let me know and I can change it to a slightly more aggressive setting. It just may impact quality a little bit. Oh, no problem, Anthony. In trading, majority of the time, that's what it is. It's just analyzing the charts and deciding whether that's your day to trade or not. And just remember, day trading is not everyday trading. It just means that when you enter a trade, you're expecting to exit that same day. But every day, the market is not primed to trade. Nope, you didn't miss anything, TJ. Oh, yeah, we had a eclipse of the low here, just barely. So if that wanted to be just a sweep of a low, then move higher, then that definitely could be the case. Let me move to a lower time frame just to see if okay, a little sliver of a fair value gap there. Yeah, the Dow has been the weakest of the three this morning. No, I didn't catch ICT on live, TJ. I woke up and got set up for my live session, but no, I didn't catch ICT. I heard ICT was on, and I was looking at the numbers, the viewers, and I said, "Oh, okay." Some of my viewers must be on ICT live this morning because our numbers were really low. They're a little closer to normal now, but early, especially at 10 o'clock, they were really low. Already, okay. Well, I don't think I've made any mistakes because I haven't taken any trades today. Hopefully that changes this afternoon. I don't like sitting on the sideline, but I also don't want to just enter trades to entertain you guys. $15,000 watching. Yep, that sounds about right. Yeah, that's true. When he's live, man, people have been waiting for that. So whenever he goes live, a lot of people jump in. I might catch it later. Put it on double speed and listen to it. Maybe I'll catch some of it during the break here. Okay. Okay, tomorrow at 8:15. All right. Yep, it is the dollar. You're right, and that's like I was saying, Ray. I was hoping that once the dollar reached that level, the weekly high from last week, that we get some type of retracement, and so far that hasn't happened. But we're always hopeful that the lunch could bring that. Yep. But all right, team. I have to run. I have to run a few minutes early, so I'm gonna end the live stream now. Thank you all for attending this morning. I do appreciate it, and we'll be right back in about an hour and 15 minutes. So hopefully, majority, if not all of you, can attend. So thanks for hanging out with me this morning. I appreciate it, and I'll see you in just over an hour. Thanks.